Shakespeare's Sonnets, the poetic William Shakespeare. Hello and welcome to the discourse. We have covered all major plays of William Shakespeare from the first folio, and we have also discussed his two long narrative poems in details. Let us now discuss the Shakespeare's sonnets. Unlike Spenserian sonnets that were invented by Edmund Spenser himself, Shakespearean sonnets were not invented by him. Rather, he copied the same sonnet form, what was introduced by Thomas Wyatt in England some 50 years ago. Henry Howard used rhyming meter to divide Petrarchan sonnets into quatrains and wrote his poetry in sonnets. However, Shakespeare actually popularized the sonnet form of poetry by introducing new and often controversial themes in his poetic sonnets. Before Shakespeare, all sonnet writers, including Petrarch, Dante, Thomas Wyatt, and Philip Sidney, expressed deep worship-like love towards an unobtainable goddess like beautiful lady. However, Shakespeare changed this and used sonnets to introduce a young, attractive man and a dark lady who is no goddess-like. He introduced controversial themes like homoeroticism or homosexuality, misogyny, and infidelity in his sonnets. Sonnets. A sonnet is a 14-line poem with a definite rhyming pattern. In Shakespeare's sonnets, that pattern is ABAB, CD, EFEF, GG. The rhyming pattern of Shakespeare's sonnets is iambic pentameter. The first 12 lines define the theme of poem, while the last two lines either summarize the previous 12 lines or offer a surprising ending to the poem. Shakespeare's sonnets were first published in 1609 by Thomas Thorpe in quarto form. While Shakespeare is the most successful dramatist of all times and his dramas still remain successful as they appear timeless, Shakespeare's sonnets, and in fact all poetry in form of sonnets, lost relevance and popularity during his own lifetime. Shakespeare didn't divide or categorize his sonnets, and since he was not directly involved in their publication, there are doubts about the sequence of the sonnets too. However, the most accepted division of Shakespearean sonnets suggests that first 126 sonnets, sonnets 1 to 126, are addressed to a certain Mr. W.H., an attractive male, while the remaining sonnets, sonnet 127 to 154, are addressed to a beautiful dark lady, his mistress. In the first long division, the narrator addresses a young man with whom he has developed a homoerotic relationship. In initial sonnets, from sonnet 1 to 17, the poet backs his young lover and tries to convince him to marry a young woman and beget children so that his incredible beauty may not die with him. However, the young man, Mr. W.H., rejects the pleas of the poet and denies marrying any woman. Then the poet starts praising the male beauty of Mr. W.H. from the sonnet 18 and consoles himself that at least his sonnets will keep the beauty of the young man intact. By the sonnet 26, the poet realizes that he is more attracted towards the young man than he intended to, while the young man doesn't respond to him with the same interest. The poet becomes restless in absence of the young man and can't sleep without meeting him. By the sonnet 58, the poet continues to feel isolation and frustration, and his emotions towards Mr. W.H. also fluctuates, as the poet finds himself completely dependent on the young man's affection, while he also lashes anger at him for his unappreciated love towards Mr. W.H. While the young man continues to reject the poet wonders about the pain and sorrow that the passing time brings as the beauty of his beloved erodes. He contemplates if there is a way to preserve the beauty of his beloved young man. By the sonnet 79, the young man starts showing interest in other rival poet. The narrator then philosophizes about time and suggests that time and immortality cannot be conquered. Jealous of being ignored for another poet, the poet lashes his anger again on the young man, and then he wonders if he is incompetent to compete with the new forms of beautiful poetry written by another poet for the young man. The poet analyzes the love for other person in philosophical terms and then suggests the young man to leave him at once if he is not interested in him anymore. However, the young man doesn't heed the poet and keeps playing with him emotionally. By the sonnet 100, the poet decides to stop begging for the young man's affection. The poet thinks that maybe if he doesn't give that much attention to the young man, he will respond to his affection. But then the poet realizes that his own silence towards the young man is the reason why the young man treats him so bad. The poet blames himself for all the wrongs the young man did to him and apologizes for his own treatment of his friend. In the last 126th sonnet, the poet shows pity on himself while blaming himself for the lost love he had got from the young man. In the next section of the sonnets, from 127 to 154, the poet addresses a married dark lady with whom the poet is infatuated. She makes love with him, but soon attains many more lovers. The poet expresses fluctuations in his feelings as he is totally dependent on the affection of the dark lady, while he is also angry at her for not remaining loyal to him and getting more lovers. Again, just like in the first section, the poet blames himself for the way the dark lady, his mistress, treats him bad. In a manner, Shakespeare actually ridiculed all the previous notions of love in sonnets. His lover was not a very beautiful and attractive goddess-like woman, but a fat lady with dark complexion and a young man. Shakespeare continued to ridicule the notion of platonic love in his dramas too, as he did in As You Like It, in which Rosalind teaches Orlando a better and responsible way of love. So this was all about Shakespeare's sonnets. We will now move towards the works of Sir Francis Bacon while continuing our discussion of the history of English literature. Please stay connected with the discourse. Thanks and regards.